Greetings tonight. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, this is part 2. Part 1 about joining the Pleiadians happened about 2 years ago in 2018. I was called to discuss some things about how humans can merge their consciousness with the Pleiadians. And so 2 years later, I am back again with part 2 on revealing some of the outcomes of what has happened between those 2 years of passing, and also to talk about the event and to bring some real clarity to those that are wondering about the event and when the event will occur and what the event is even about. Some of you have probably heard about the event, and I wanted to talk about it and show you where it comes from. The man there that you see in the picture, his name is Chico Xavier, and he was a very famous Brazilian spiritualist, born around 1930s, and through the 60s, he started making predictions. He actually wrote about 490 books on spiritualism. And he is a medium, so he channeled higher information from the astral realms and from extraterrestrials themselves in order to help humanity. The man Chico Xavier right there is responsible for coming up with the idea of the event. And the event is really about a deadline date. Chico Xavier, through a mediumship, predicted in 1938 in a book called On the Way to the Light that channeled that in 1999 there would be a meeting of extraterrestrial angelic powers of the entire solar system in the surroundings of Earth who were monitoring life on Earth, and they were concerned about humans. This meeting then happened July 20th, 1969, when man first stepped on the moon. Now, those events are very connected. Chico Xavier was able to predict that man would experience the moon eventually as they explored space. And as mankind made their first step on the moon, the angelic powers, the extraterrestrial life that is monitoring life and watching humanity and are part of us at a multidimensional level, they saw that humankind was expanding and moving out towards space. So that concerned some of the extraterrestrials because of what they were witnessing on Earth in terms of war and devastation and general unconscious behavior. So this began a countdown of the moral and spiritual development of humanity by a certain deadline date, which is called the event. So Chico said in 1969, if we do not enter into an extermination world war in the next 50 years, we can expect extraordinary advancements of human science starting from the moon. The angelic powers surrounding our solar system in extraterrestrial and light body form, including the Spirit of Christ, decided to give humanity 50 years of moral development from the date of landing on the moon. So when humans landed on the moon in July 20th, 1969, it started a countdown of 50 years after that to see where humanity was going. They gave time to see if humanity can coexist peacefully without provoking a third world war, especially using nuclear weapons. So then July 20th, 2019 was the new deadline date, and this was the last chance for mankind to be seen as a progressive species. So Chico went on to say that if mankind chose the worst choice, then man would start a nuclear war, but it would be Earth itself that would put an end to mankind before mankind could destroy each other. Exhausted of human excesses, human exploitation, and natural resources, and the devastation of nature, Earth would respond with devastating earthquakes, fires, and volcanoes, bringing devastation to mankind, especially the northern hemisphere, which would become uninhabitable. But if we did start to show some efforts of moving forwards into peace and moral development by July 2019, then technologically and spiritually advancements would come and occur on Earth from this event deadline. So from here, advancements in medicine, public and social welfare, including contact with other forms of life, would start to increase, as well as we would enter a planetary regeneration to start a healing process of Earth itself from the date July 20th, 2019. Now, there are forces that act against this process, whether consciously or unconsciously, but these are the next steps for humanity to continue this path of progress and join the Pleiadians spiritually, and one day to experience each other in relationship with them, as well as other extraterrestrials, to share resources and universal wisdom more in the future. The angelic extraterrestrial powers that monitor life ask for each person to contemplate the following as the outcome of the event. But in order to stay on track now, it's important to remember these things. So the very big news is that we passed the deadline without having World War III and destroying each other in nuclear war. So this is an amazing outcome for humans. And this is going to start to bring forwards the advancements and the progress that humanity has wanted, because they made it according to the higher powers that are watching humanity and observing behaviors. Some of you may think that the world is in a chaotic state right now, and it is, but it was far more concerning about a World War III breaking out and destroying the Earth and also the inhabitants of the Earth. So that is what the event is all about. We have passed that deadline, and now we are merging into a new era in which humanity still has to keep on this track. So we're not done. It's about now realizing what's the next phase. So here are the next things that they wanted me to share with you. And in case you didn't know, I too am a spirit writer. So this is why I am reading what I wrote down, because I receive messages more easily when I write them, because sometimes my brain gets in the way and it's hard for me to sometimes speak these messages in the proper way that I would like to really get them across. So, number one, and just keep in mind that it starts with each of us. So they are asking for you to listen to these ideas and then contemplate how it can affect your life and how you can make those changes. And then that will keep the progress and the healing on Earth, because everything is connected. And if one of you makes the effort, then more and more will start to, because it will be a contagious event where people will see the happiness and the change in you. And so it will inspire others to change. And this is how we move towards a more peaceful future that many of you have envisioned. So number one, do contemplate and get in touch with the inner Christ consciousness. This will change the vibration, not only within to a more loving state of being, but also the pattern of the entire planet as well. The vibrational pattern of the planet will change. And these are real energies that actually dissolve vengeance, persecution, vanity, selfishness, that really torment the human existence. And it also dissolves the limited ego, replacing it with the divine one on Earth. Pleiadians are at the stages of experiencing universal love on a multidimensional level. So in order for humanity to merge with them and join them one day, then the seeds need to be planted within each mind right now at this start in time. Because the Pleiadians represent, and other extraterrestrials represent, the future of mankind in many ways. So keep that in mind, that where the Pleiadians are at is absolutely achievable to all humans on Earth. And in fact, it is our birthright because we are related to them. We have star origins just as much as they did. And we come from the same forefathers of the Pleiadians. So in order for humanity to merge with them, then it's important to start to keep these things in mind. If an inner Christ does not resonate with you or your experience, then ask to substitute with any messenger, mystic, or prophet, or person that you look up to having words of wisdom and who have shown others greater experiences of love on earth. Looking at the world through the eyes of love changes the perspectives and ultimately the dynamics between others and relationships that you have. As the Pleiadians said in 1975 to Billy Meyer first, they said, with love and wisdom, the human being is master over all creations. So this is a higher message coming from them to let you know that one who has become a master, which really just means in control of yourself and over your own experiences. And if you do it through using the tools of love and your experiences in life and applying it to become wisdom, then you can create anything at will, and you will become completely in control of your own creative experience. The next thing they said, number 2, they say humans are making great efforts to help the planet environmentally, but they do feel more personal effort is needed still. So search your heart and decide what more you can do to increase the welfare of animals who are connected to you in their suffering, and also help leave less of a carbon imprint in the world in terms of switching your lifestyle and consumerism habits to being more consciously aware of their environmental impact. This ensures the regeneration of the planet, moving in alignment to the conscious actions of humans. So it's not enough that we are in a regeneration time where the earth is trying to heal itself once again. And there are many humans that are making the efforts to change their lifestyle habits and really use eco-friendly products and really look for an eco-friendly type of lifestyle. But it's important that more start to do it, because that's going to ensure a collective experience that we are coexisting with nature, and we will not have the devastating effects of the earth shaking itself, which some of you may have heard before, but earth shaking itself quite literally means to get rid of the organisms that are polluting its environment and that are affecting the other organisms. And so it's a means of balance of life. And so that's really important to understand, that earth also has this ability to actually reflect and respond to the actions of humans. Number 3, if you would like to prepare for contact or connection mentally, spiritually, and physically, then try to rise above the earth conflicts and differences within the world. Don't let them shake your spiritual core. Now, because we have reached the deadline event without having a World War III experience with nuclear weapons that destroyed everything and life as we know it, they are still seeing rumblings of war. And there's also rumblings of civil war politically between different parties. So political arguments and differences should not get between friendships and relationships. So each individual person is going to have to learn how to fight their battles in a more peaceful way, and to see their perspectives as something that they suggest to lighten up with a bit, and to learn when to laugh at differences and find them funny and not infuriating. And they say, try to understand other perspectives instead of judging them or the person they come from. There is a life story and experience behind every opinion. And learn to see that of a person, and there can be diversity on earth without chaos and heartbreak, or worse, bloodshed. So when you start to really try to understand the other person, you reach this level of comprehension and understanding that brings peace to earth, and through the dynamics of relationships. Number 4, with a message on differences of cultures, skin color, religion, and lifestyle. They ask for humans to see each other as energy in its multitude of forms in terms of becoming matter. However, the spirit inside each form has led countless lives in other cultures, skin colors, and religions and lifestyles. So if you can start to experience each other as having many lives and having this infinite consciousness that is not attached to a particular identity, then you will soon see that a white person in today's world once saw and experienced life as a Black person, and vice versa. Remember, you are one, and all souls belong to one another. Find and discover how all the pieces of humanity fit together, and you will finally see the picture more clearly. Just remember, you are not an Indian, a Jew, a Christian, a pagan, an atheist for all eternity. This specific identity only lasts one lifetime, or as many as it takes to go through your spiritual development within that identity. And then the soul or consciousness moves on to experience life in a whole new form, to develop itself more till total self-realization happens and new experiences occur in new forms of matter known as the light body experience, which is where the Pleiadians are moving into. Number 5, they are gently guiding humanity to increase their quantum psyche. Moving from a material psyche to a quantum one will do the world good. A quantum psyche is when you involuntarily move through life, understanding that everything is vibrating energy. But not only that, it is vibrating together and in contrast, like harmony and discord. Things that vibrate in harmony to our values, such as peace, love, friendship, wisdom, will make us happy and feeling more aligned to our spiritual truths. Things that are vibrational events that are in discord with those spiritual truths will cause us unhappiness and suffering. That's how we will be able to tell what is truly false and what is truly true. Is what is truly what makes you happy versus what is causing you suffering and pain. With a quantum psyche, you can make the choice to then vibrate in harmony with others and the planet, or you can choose to not, just by focus alone. It is focus and attention directed that causes the certain vibrational patterns of harmony or discord within to emerge outside and become your reality, creating your experience and how you perceive the world. And what you focus on becomes your soul experience, because there is only the you doing the personal experience. Nobody else can see the world through your eyes. Having a quantum psyche also requires you to see that we do live in an intensely interconnected universe, and that what one person does has an effect on the whole in an energetic way. Quantum psychology is the study of healing human suffering by understanding everything first stems from the mind. Changing the mind becomes easier by remembering the quantum world of energy and your quantum power to create a reality experience at will. So what this will look like will be unique towards every individual in terms of their own perspectives, but it will open the mind to be able to experience a level of joy for life that many can get glimpses of on psychedelics. They wanted me to pass this message that life could be like this always, meaning that the state that people arrive in using the nature tools of psychedelics is actually a vibrational state of reality that eventually you can live your entire life in. You can eventually reach a state of inner and outer harmony with the world and with the universe that you are high all the time, meaning in a state of high vibrational fields of experience. And so this is why psychedelics are tools, but they are not always the way into the spiritual truth of everything, that you need to make it more permanent. You need to find ways of how to permanently raise your vibrations so that you can then move into the next experience, and how you view the world will be just as like how you view the world when you are on these types of psychedelics that help you to see the spiritual truth. But what they are doing is they are connecting parts of the mind once again, but you can connect those parts of the mind just with a single focus, just with a single thought, and a type of searching where you are just curious about what more there is to life to experience. Number 6, they encourage people to keep saying no to things they don't want to do or offends their souls. Here's why. This is how growth of an entire species comes about. We do not get better as humans by keeping up the graces of saying yes to things that offend us and that do not align to our souls, and keeping old systems and things that do not serve us spiritually. We do not progress when we keep saying yes to those, but we progress when we say no to those, because resistance helps build character and the strength of spirit. The resistance to these things that offend us. To say no to things that don't align to you anymore as an awakened soul helps another awaken to see the offense in the first place, and then they learn from that experience. Be your authentic self always, allowing the truthful realizations of both your dark and the light parts of yourself to reveal the whole you, the you that has the power to fix and heal and always begin a new day. Number 7, understand that all lies, misunderstandings, hidden truths will come to the surface eventually in this world. It is a system of karma, or universal law of cause and effect. So look forwards and keep getting excited for the truth to keep pushing through to the surface. Look at the sometimes scary truth as not a bad thing that hurts your soul, but with happiness that it is time to be at the surface now and to be revealed. Humanity's advancements depends on removing old barriers of limitation and lies to make room for the spiritual truths that will bring more inspiration of growth and healing together. Number 8, the last word of caution. Many humans have started to become very dependent on Pleiadians and other beings to changing everything on Earth. So this was a very important message. I'm going to stop that there. They said this is about a multi-dimensional universe. The law of free will enters into play here, where no higher being by this law of the universe can interfere or intervene without the consent of others. So they say if humans can't imagine their own types of liberation and their own types of world peace from the old ways and moving away from things that no longer serve them, then they ask, how can the ones on the higher dimensions imagine it for you if there is no foundation of thought within first? Everything starts with a personal thought. That is the seed. So aliens or extraterrestrials can assist, but only if humanity assists themselves first. And this goes for each soul to remember that no one can help you unless you give permission by the conscious focus and effort in the very first small step to help yourself. And this is why humanity has gotten this far and has passed the event deadline of 2019. And this is why we are in a new era, and 2020 is a little chaotic, but that's because lots of things are coming to the surface so that we get to the spiritual truths. So it starts with each mind to awaken to their own spiritual truth of quantum power within, to change not only their own lives, but the course of the world together. So you have the power to change anything in your life and recreate from the very moment in time of self-realization and awareness that something needs to change and that you would like change. And then they say that it also has the power to change the entire future of humanity. And that's really what we are doing. We are ensuring a survival of this species. And we are also ensuring that the human species evolves into a loving, beautiful species that has not forgotten its spiritual self. Because there are some species in the universe that represent a multidimensional side of humanity that has forgotten their spiritual selves, and they are attached to the material world and all the other spiritual consequences that come with it when you forget about your true spiritual nature of cosmic love, of the ability to experience universal love, fraternal love with everyone. And this is why the Christ consciousness is a great example for humanity, and it has been seen in many others too, because it is the key to the personal salvation of this species evolving into a loving species that does not try to dominate other planets as they expand outwards into space, but they learn to live in harmony amongst all the other beings as our galactic neighbors and truly evolve into the original beings that humans were always created to be. So I will leave you with that to think about those 8 things to keep close to your heart, to remember that as you move on in your life, and to understand that everything is connected and that the event already occurred and we have passed the event, but now we are trying to move now into the new era. So there are some things to keep in mind because we're on the cusp. Many of you can feel that. We still have great fires. We still have natural types of devastations that are happening, but Earth is also regenerating as well. And humans are waking up and are realizing their interconnection to nature and are trying to help it heal as well. And this is all very, very important. So the Pleiadians are asking you to just keep on this path, increase your efforts in every way that I said, and you will be able to join with your galactic neighbors in the future. And that will be a reality that will be experienced, and determining what type of species humanity becomes with their choices determines the relationship, the nature of the relationship with the loving intergalactic beings that are watching humanity and are waiting for them to rise to the level that they were first originally created to rise to. And to remember that this is all just a collective story, and that at any time you can realize your true power, and you can then experience yourself moving with the collective story in any position, role that you want to, really to bring you joy in your personal experience. And so that is what they also wanted me to tell you as well. So I'm going to go to the comments. This time we get a chance to talk. And I will answer some questions as best as I can at this point. Yes, Peachy Fruit, we are all connected. Absolutely. Miss Jamie, so part of raising our collective vibration is also in honoring the consent of our fellow man. It is about recognizing why people do the things they do and having compassion and empathy for them as they do it, but at the same time saying, no, that is not allowed. That offends the spiritual truth within you. But at the same time, you could be teachers to others by being authentic with your own feelings and your own perspectives. But at the same time, you could be loving about it. You don't have to be judgmental and cause a greater barrier between others. You can bring in a sense of compassion and empathy to those that you disagree with or those that are doing harm. But at the same time, saying no and standing up for what you believe in. That's really important. Greetings from Chile. Yes, greetings. Miss Jamie, I'm feeling excited for our collective evolution into higher consciousness through the liberation of truth. Good. Yes. And the excitement is what will keep you looking forwards to that future. And when you look forwards to a future that you're excited about, that is a focus. That is a concentration. And you will manifest that reality. That is how you will see the world. Because as the wise man Alan Watts said, the world is like a Rorschach block in the idea, a blot, in the idea that when you are told to figure out what it is that you're looking at, when you're looking at just an ink blot by a psychologist, that's how the world is. How you perceive the world will be. So keep that in mind, that that is the great power that you really have. Each of us truly do have. And what that means is that you will experience things to confirm and affirm the reality that you believe the world to be. So if you see the world as truly evolving and liberating itself, you will start to see those events happen. And if you do not, and you see it in a darker way and not so loving way, then you will see the destruction. You will see the chaos, because that is all that you will focus on. Peachy Fruit, right. Trying to not control others, instead respect others' choices and their life path. Exactly. Yes, we cannot control others. That was very important that the Pleiadians said that with wisdom and love, humans become master over all creation, But what does that really mean? It means their creation. So we cannot control others. We cannot dominate. We cannot become the tyrants ourselves with our visions of peace. All we can do is master our own mind in a way where we realize that we are not just the mind, but we are spirits of light, and that we will return back to that realm of light. But how you experience this life is really your choosing, and everything is a vibrational response to how you choose and your focus. So Nico, is the event related to the plasma event or the EMPCOE many people talk about? So Nico, a lot of things I think are connected to, so I'm focusing on the consciousness, the spiritual development of humanity, because that's more my focus. But on a physical level, if we're talking about the physics of the universe, yes, I've heard solar flares, I've heard planetary alignments, I have heard lots of different types of energies that are conspiring and working with kind of the regeneration of the planet at the same time. But there are some types of higher types of energies that are coming into the earth. And I will discuss this more because it has a lot to do with our increase in technology. And this is not something that we have to be afraid of, but we have to prepare ourselves and really understand what's going on in that way. But yes, I would say that they're interconnected, Nico, everything is. Sabrina Ray, I wrote down that quote, "There is a life story and experience behind every opinion. I find I get offended when people don't take the environment seriously. Do you have suggestions for that?" You have to just understand that they are not at a level of consciousness and awareness where they have connected or reconnected to nature, but you have. So all you can do is show by example your lovingness towards nature. And when more of us are the examples and teachers to others, then we will have more people inspired to do the same, because they will start to see the results of more happiness, more inner peace in our own lives, as well as a healthier world. So that's what I would say, is keep focusing on the self and understand where people are right now. We are experiencing different dimensions, just as the aliens or the extraterrestrials represent different dimensions of experience. We also have different experiences or different dimensions of consciousness on this planet. So we experience each other as coming from different dimensions. So take note when a person is not connected to nature. That means they are still disconnected from nature, not yet raising to the spiritual truths of being in the quantum psyche, where they understand that they are connected to everything on an energetic vibrational level. Peachy Fruit, have psychedelics brought you closer to Pleiadians? Psychedelics only show you the truth within yourself. So it's a different experience, but the Pleiadians did give me the message that if you took the most advanced civilization and alien civilization, if we want to use it like that, then you would see a race of beings that did not partake in psychedelics as a way to see life through the spiritual truth. They have simply went through their experiences enough to raise to the state of vibrations where they would always constantly be in that spiritual truth. So psychedelics can be a window and a glimmer to those spiritual truths within, and just show you the interconnection of the universe. But there is a state of being in which you will not require psychedelics, and eventually humanity will get to that point. But right now, psychedelics are being used and they are becoming decriminalized, which is good, because this is a baby step in realizing that that state of mind is actually the closer to the spiritual truth and nature of things. And that's why we have it. It's like almost like a key, basically, to unlock some things within us that have been hidden for a very long time. Put there, of course, by us, on a higher level, to go through this experience and to remember ourselves. But we have these keys. I like to call them God keys. And I would say that psychedelics can be God keys. They help you, remind you of things. So I would say that Pleiadians, in that idea, when they entered into their light body existence, some of them did, because according to the Semyase messages, many of them were getting ready to move into the light body experience, but it's all individual journey. But the ones that did or are in the process of that, as humanity will one day, they do not need to be on psychedelics, because that's just where they naturally are. They are naturally always assured of their connection, because they're in that state of universal love consciousness. So eventually you can get there without psychedelics, which is a really wonderful thing, because you won't even need the tool. You will already know that you have the tool within yourself. Sabrina Ray, I have a lot of experience with psychedelics. You don't need it to get close to them, though. Yeah. And some people, they can do it once, they can do it twice, they could do it a few times, and then that's it. That's all they needed. But some people like to do it more, and that's fine. I'm not judging that. I'm just saying that there is a state of consciousness where you will actually be in that vibrational place all the time. And eventually that's where humans are getting to and going. So the decriminalization is just like a baby step, and it's the next step. Noreen, I've tripped around five times, 3 on shrooms, twice in LSD. It was truly life-changing both times. And yes, I think it makes you much more spiritual, able to feel oneness much more. Yeah, it reconnects your brain in a way that if you have not found a way to do it on your own through some spiritual practices that can get you to the state of reaching nirvana and Centauri and, these places of spiritual state where you can enter in. But psychedelics is another way to do it. And it's using a more physical matter that is connected to the light source, which is plants. But at the same time, it's once you have that information within you, it changes you. It rewires you in many ways. But eventually there will be a point where humanity can actually be rewired that way. And I'm not saying manipulated, medically. I'm saying that all it takes is new focus and consciousness shift. So, Miss Jamie, I never fully absorbed how important it is to say I love you, but what you're doing is not okay when coming across actions that offend the soul. It makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yes, you do not have to agree with something, but you still can love a person. And when you get to that place, that is the universal love consciousness that the Pleiadians are at. I have the messages right here I can share with you about that. The idea that at stage 5 in the rebirth cycle, they have talked about how they're at the level of universal brotherhood, which they termed just the idea of like basically connected to all souls, universal love on a cosmic level. So they are always respectful towards other life forms, but yet they don't have to agree with them around the universe. So if they meet degenerate life forms that seem to symbolize the darkness and unconsciousness of the universe, they do not agree with them, and they can fight them, and they can move through a battle with them, but yet they're still coming from a place of love, which is a really delicate balance. But that is eventually what humans can get to if they keep that vibration of love within themselves, even through the diversity of the world. And then this is the one here. Where did you say that? Peachy fruit. I want to try and become closer to the planet and the universe. Well, I will let you decide on that, and we'll talk more about that. I do have another video coming, but this was really the main thing, is graduate to a psyche that is aware of the quantum world, so that you focus every day in your material world and experience as having a relationship to the energetic world. And when you do that, that is what's going to really move you into the higher states of vibration where the Pleiadians can meet us at. So in my part 1 video, I said that they were 4th dimensional, but what I really meant was that they were on the 4th dimension with humans, and they move with humans. They met because they actually are much higher in dimension in terms of, we have a range of 9th dimensional consciousness to 11th dimensional consciousness of the Pleiadians, and maybe even beyond. And what happens is, when you get to the higher dimensions, you have easy access to the lower dimensions. And this comes through space-time, travel, being able to appear at any point in time and space. You have very easy access to the lower dimensions. So they were able to meet humanity on the 4th dimension when humanity was able to move into alignment with them in terms of moving from the 3D consciousness of the world into the 4th dimension of the heart openings, of the heart space opening, and then moving through that into the 5th dimension, which many of us are starting to experience. Dimensions are a personal experience as well as a collective experience, because the personal experience of a dimension will affect the collective experience that you perceive. So keep that in mind and keep raising those vibrations into the state of which you have always wanted to go. And we can only move up from here. That's how I will leave this. So everyone, have a wonderful day. Please take to heart some of these messages, and may they just bring you into the new phase and next stage of your own existence and of humanity's as a collective. I'm really excited for the future now that we have passed the event deadline together. Now we just have to keep our focus so that we don't regress and have another type of concern about extermination. We're still on the cusp, but there's a lot of hope left. And we just have to keep that in our hearts and our mind. So have a wonderful day, night, wherever you are, and I will see you on the next video.